Howdy fellow simmers and welcome back to my channel. I am a cupcake sim and I was really happy with how the pond feature turned out in my last build, and I thought, wait a second, if we've got these features, what if we make puddles? And I could not for the life of me figure out how I was going to be able to incorporate puddles into one of my builds. And then I realized, wait, what about a campsite? Because like right after it rains, there are puddles. So now I'm making a campsite. I have never made a campsite and or park lot before. So this is a very new thing for me. I am doing a voiceover this time instead of talking while I build, because I did seem very stressed in my first video when I was talking while I built. And so now I actually have a plan, and so I wasn't stressed while I was building. So I don't know how this is going to turn out because it is a new situation. The voiceover is kind of odd for me, but hopefully it turns out okay. I was wanting this campsite to look very much like it fit in with its surroundings, and so I did go into debug just so I could find the trees that were used in the background and maybe some of the bushes as well. I did just throw in a couple of rocks before I started recording. That was an accident. I didn't click the record button as soon as possible, or as soon as I needed to. Anyway, I was very happy that this pink tree was actually not in debug, it was just in your basic landscaping. And that brought me so much happiness because I didn't have to waste like 5 minutes scrolling through debug. I did go and set the lot trait to the national park lot trait because I figured that's kind of what a campsite would be. I didn't want to put it as the normal park trait because then I would have to have a bunch of the children's playground stuff, and that was just gonna throw off the idea that I had. All of the campsites or trailer parks that I've been to, while they are all different, they've had a constant of grill, trash can, picnic table. So I figured I would do that in this, like with a bunch of little sites with a grill and trash can and picnic table for each of those sites, which actually worked out really well because that is what the required items are for this lot trait. And it was kind of interesting actually incorporating the trash cans into the build, because typically when a build requires one, I just kind of put it all the way in the back in the corner where no one's gonna see it and it's fine, and I just ignore it. This time I was actually able to incorporate it into the build, which was different for me, but I feel like it actually did help it feel more realistic. And I kept struggling with how many campsites I wanted to have. Did I want to have just 3 and make it simple? Was I going to add a couple more? So you will notice that I start with these 3 and then later I go on and I add another one in the front corner, I think. I was going to say front left corner and then I realized that might not be right. I don't know my left from my right. Anyway, I think that's left actually. I think it's going to be in the front left corner. But we'll figure that out when we see it. And so I was actually really happy that with the new Sims Seasons thing that happened this summer and the little, not carnival, carnival's not the right word, it was a concert, that they added tents into the base game debug, which made me really happy because number one, it makes making campsites easier, and number two, I actually like using them in my gameplay sometimes because, hey, they're free. And my Sims can actually use them. So that's multiple bonuses. Some people might consider that cheating, but we'll figure that out later. This isn't really something you can cheat on. It's a base game lot. Well, that's not what, it's a community lot. That's the word I was looking for. Anyway, so I did end up putting, I think I put 6 tents down. Not all of the tents were in one of the little campsites that I put together, but they were all facing towards the center if they weren't in their own campsite. So that that picnic table in the center could be like a community spot. I was very I was very struggling to pick tents that they didn't all match, but they didn't look like I had tried too much on them being random. Um, I did try way too much on making them appear random, but I don't think it looks like I tried, so that was the goal. Anyway, as you can see, yes, it was the left front corner that I added an extra little campsite. I don't think I gave them a picnic table. And at this point, I'm just going in with terrain paint, adding a little bit more details, making the adding dirt underneath things that would be used a lot, like in the trash cans and under the picnic tables, because it's places that you would walk around a lot and places where in real life you would see the grass to kind of be thinned out. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to connect all of the campsites yet. I do figure that out later, but I was kind of just postponing having to do that. I was also struggling with the new landscaping tools because they are you can grow them and shrink them. It's a slider instead of just picking the size that you're used to. And I was always used to using the middle size. And for this one, I had to go in and find that size. And if you move it just a little bit, your circle changes by a lot. At this point, you'll notice that I kind of went in and was braving the whole make a make the pavings and make paths and connect them all together. I clicked the back button a lot during this section of my build, and but I do think I'd finally get the paths to look okay. They're not the best paths that I've made, but most times I build the paths first and then put things around that. And I kind of did it backwards than my normal this time, and I think that's why it looked a little bit awkward. But at least it's not terrible. And I did my best, so that's all we're looking for at this point. Good enough is, you know what, I have a feeling that's going to be something I say a lot in this channel. Um, I was kind of feeling like the lot was empty, and so I wanted to go in and add grass patches, but most of the grass patches that you can choose are they're a perfect square or a triangle, and they only have like 2 grass options that are more spread out. And so I was trying to mix those together in a way that made it seem natural. And it was kind of difficult. At this point, I was just kind of placing it down and hoping it looked okay. I was also kind of speeding through it because I wanted to get to the point where I was making ponds and puddles. But I don't really know how I feel about the job I did on the grass. I really wish that EA would give us more grass options, like in the next patch or something. And I realize they just gave us a patch, and I should be grateful for that. And I am. I very much love it. The new ponds and lakes and puddles are really great, and they've been able to allow me to fulfill my dream of having duck ponds in my backyard. And so I am very grateful, but also grass. I would like a couple new swatches for grass. And it's kind of a weird thing to be asking for, but I am, so. But I am glad that the grass swatches they have give us a couple wildflowers so that it seems less manicured. Because, yes, wildflowers grow in your yard. A lot of those wildflowers are actually weeds, and it is slightly annoying when they get into your garden, but when they're in their yard, it looks nice. And so I did like that. At this point, I was just trying to fill in spaces that looked okay with the grass, and then I was really happy because I got to the actual changing of the land. I was able to make the land rise and fall instead of it being perfectly flat, because there are very few places in the world where the ground is perfectly flat. I mean, Oklahoma is about as close as you get in America. Oklahoma, Kansas is pretty flat. But then there are lots of places with rolling hills and mountains, and it's all very much moving. And so I wanted it to make it feel natural, so I did add a couple little hills. And they're not big, they're just gentle slopes. I will admit that I rushed through it because I wanted to get to making the ponds. I did, if you'll notice, I started here with making it really thin because I almost wanted to put a river going through, but I dropped that idea really quickly. I'm also really disappointed in my personal skills because I kept accidentally overflowing the pond and I need to learn how to notice things. But so I did try to make the ponds look like they were, naturally shaped. Typically, I go with bean shapes, but not every pond looks like a bean. So I was trying to branch out here because even though the pack only came out yesterday, yeah, I've already gained bad habits. Anyway, we're trying to push past that. And here's when I got really happy because I got to make puddles. And I was really happy with the way the puddles turned out. They look really cute and they bring me joy. And I kept accidentally overflowing the ponds. But that's fine. I was able to fix it. The back button is a blessing from heaven. It's one of the it's one of the things we don't have in real life that I wish we had in real life. I wish if I made a mistake, I could just be like, "Wait, no back button. I didn't do that." That happens way too much in my actual life. I don't remember how many puddles I had exactly, but I do remember wanting to add more and having to restrain myself. I also added a couple places where it wasn't quite small enough to be a puddle, but it wasn't quite big enough to be considered a pond. It's like one of those places where there's a dip in the ground and every year during the rainy season it fills up and you can go play in it, but then in the fall it's just dried up again. I wanted it to be like one of those type situations, except it's a Sims, it's not going to dry up. And something I don't know yet because I don't have seasons and so I don't have weather in my Sims game, but I'm curious to know if when it rains, water actually fills up. I don't think so, but that would be cool. If you'll notice at this point, I was just kind of looking for more places to add puddles, trying to make the puddles look more naturally shaped instead of just being, oh, perfect circle. I was also trying to look for more places that I could just change the landscaping a little bit. I ended up turning this back area with the rocks into a pond. I was just going to put a little bit of water gathering the bases of the rocks, But then I got carried away and decided, you know what? We're having a pond. No one can stop me. You just get to sit back and watch me make mistakes and or cringe at my awkwardness, which is fine. That's why you're here. Or you're here just because you feel bad for me. Either way, I'm grateful. Um, at this point, I was trying to make this pond. I had just given up on puddle idea and was like, you know what? It's a pond. And I was trying to make it look naturally shaped without looking too funky shaped because I wanted it to have enough room in there that I could add fun little effects. Like I could add a log with turtles on it. I could add some ducks because ducks are important to me. And so I did make it a little bit bigger than I had planned originally. It looks like that trash can's just gonna lean back and fall into the pond, but it's fine. I don't know if you can kick over the round trash cans. I know your Sims can kick over your dumpsters. Not dumpsters. Are they called dumpsters? I don't know. But they can kick over some of them. But I don't know if they can kick over these. If they can, these trash cans are just gonna fall into the water. Sorry, but not sorry. I did go in and add a little bit more dirt because I realized I had forgotten to add the dirt underneath the trees. And while I do know that in real life there isn't always a patch of dirt under the trees, sometimes it's just a patch of weeds that grow up around the trees. Other times there are just a bunch of flowers at the base of the tree. I wasn't in the mood to have to try and deal with that, so I just put dirt at the bottom of them just to get it over with. I was kind of losing my patience because I am definitely not used to this type of lot. I am going to have to try it again though because it was fun. I'm just stubborn. I was also having difficulty getting in and around the trees because they made it hard to see things. I did figure it out though. And then I came back to this pond and did what I had been waiting to do, add the fun moss over the top of them. And I couldn't figure out which one I wanted to use because there are trees, so there would be leaves settled on the top of the pond. But also the moss looked really cool. And so I ended up using different water textures for the different puddles and ponds. And so I ended up using all three of the mossy slash leaf filled textures. I did make it so that you can fish in this pond because I felt like we needed something that your Sims could do here instead of just coming just to sleep in the night air, which while I realize is really fun. I love camping like that. But you know what? Now they can go fishing. They can actually do stuff. Looking back, I probably would have added something like a chess table so that your Sims can actually do stuff there and have more of their fun needs filled. I also realized I probably should have added an outhouse because at this point the Sims don't have anywhere to go to the bathroom. So looking back, I did actually learn stuff doing this, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. At the end, I am going to have to like bring my Sim here to show you all of the fun effects with the mosquitoes and the fireflies glowing. I don't know how to cheat the time while my Sim during the live mode, so I can't quite show you all of the fireflies. I will figure that out because I do want to be able to show you the fireflies glowing in future videos because they just make me so happy. So here I am in live mode. I brought my Sim so I could show you what it looked like. I did show you the turtle crawling on the log and little ducks under the fountain. Those are really pretty. As far as the bugs and those effects showing up, the the lightning bugs and the mosquitoes didn't show up as well as I thought they would, but the dragonflies actually were pretty cool. I wasn't able to show you these at night, and I wish I could. But that's all for now. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you have a great day. Goodbye!